Okay, so we're live on Facebook and YouTube. So anyone who's watching this, they can feel free to comment, ask questions, come on the Zoom if they like. They can post a message in the chat and we'll send you the link and you can participate. So we're reading from that document Narayana Prabhu wrote, which was called the next 10,000 years of ISKCON with Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so this is part 2 of the discussion. So if anyone would like this document, feel free to message me. Our link is posted in the description. You can join our group and then ask questions or get in contact with us. So now, Rupa Manjari, I think you'll be reading, Prabhu. Are you okay with that? Number 6?
Sure.
So what we'll do is we'll read number 6 and we'll discuss, then we'll go to number 7 and the rest of that.
Number 6. So there is no need for Kanistha successor gurus to go back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada will be with us personally in transparent Vani form in every decade, century, millennium, up to the end of the golden age of Kali 10,000 years from now. Will you be able to speak with him? Will he appear in dreams and give you instructions? Why not? It has happened among devotees many, many times over the years.
Okay, excellent. So that raises a question. When Prabhupada came, he initiated devotees, and then doesn't he want the disciplic succession to continue? Meaning that he initiated, so now his disciples like yourself and whoever else they are, why they cannot initiate? What's the difficulty in that tradition or following that same line? Just like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur initiated Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada initiated you, and why cannot you initiate others in formal Diksha process?
May I refer to the 5th verse of the Nectar of Instruction?
Okay, yes. Yes, can you elaborate on that?
I can't initiate, and I'm willing to accept a very, very big fat compliment that I am a transparent Uttama Adhikari on the same level as Prabhupada, but on second thought, I dropped that idea because I can't, because I'm not.
So this process that the Uttama Adhikari manifest pastimes, his physical body is no longer here, even though he might have disciples, or he does have disciples like yourself and anyone else, that is not an automatic qualification for anyone to initiate their own disciples.
Well, no, it doesn't, because supposing we take it from the point of view that that the disciple doesn't own the guru. I mean, I said, Prabhupada is my guru. He's my cat. He's my Rottweiler. He's my kangaroo. But that's not the case. We belong to the spiritual master. And why am I to say that my spiritual master cannot continue after he leaves his earthly pastime to have a transcendental pastime in Vani form, in Murti form, in the temple? Is there anything lacking in what he has written that is not sustained by his own continued existence? Is it not just that the GBC is trying to desperately to drive a wedge between people and Srila Prabhupada by, without qualification, putting up their own idea of gurus simply to keep people from not having access to Prabhupada directly? Because if they did, why would they put up with the GBC?
So that raises another question. The so-called unelected GBC, what is their real intention in doing something like this? Is it to take away the Prabhupada being the center of everything, or is it to destroy the movement?
Well, no, they're not trying to destroy the movement. in their terms of what they think the movement is or ought to be. They want the movement to continue with them as the, what do they call themselves? The
Ultimate
The-
ecclesiastical authority.
ultimate ecclesiastical authority. Now, interestingly, they say they were the ultimate ecclesiastical authority, but if they rejected the direction of management and Prabhupada's direct instructions in 1970, then they did not accept him as the ultimate ecclesiastical authority.
Yes.
So they're actually placing themselves above Prabhupada. To say we are ultimate, he was not.
So that raises another point. If they keep having, I mean, let's be real here. You know, our material bodies are limited in time. So ultimately, the ecclesiastical authority over time changes hands maybe 100 times if we go along with the system, right?
Or thousands
Of times. If we continue the system like the Chinese whisper, you say something and over time everything gets, you know, who knows what is the original message.
Well, yes, and that's what Thakur
Chinese
Bhaktivinoda was
whisper.
saying about sectarian, right?
Hmm.
That the minute the pure devotee speaks, his words fall under the ears of a person that's not an Uttama Adhikari.
Hmm.
Then somebody goes up to him, taps him on the shoulder and said, what did he say? So you tell him what you thought he said. Is it exactly the same?
No.
Is it the same vibration, the same meaning, the same realization? No. It's just an echo of what he said.
Hmm.
And then the next person, again, the telephone game or Chinese game, the other person taps that guy on the shoulder and said, what did he say to that guy that said to you? And then he tells him. By the time you go around the room, it's something entirely different, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was referring to, that if the
Exactly.
so-called successor gurus continue, it'll be a pandemonium of things going on in the society, which is already
Well,
going on.
according to Thakur Bhaktivinoda, they will come to hate each other. And then another paragraph of the same essay, he said they will come to kill each other.
Hmm.
And as we have seen, look
Yes.
at the history of the Catholic Church against the Gnostics and the early Christians,
Right. Yes.
and then against the Protestants, and then against the Knights Templar, and then against everybody that gets in their way, they kill them,
Hmm.
torture them, they boil them on oil, they burn them at the stake.
Rupa Manjari Prabhu, do you want to say anything about this, Prabhu? I want to hear some of your realization in your Krishna conscious experience in the past, 15,
Yes.
20 years.
Well, there's nobody like Srila Prabhupada,
Hmm.
and also nobody like his guru, and nobody like his guru.
Hmm.
So I agree that Prabhupada is the center of our movement, even though he's not personally present. He is still very much with us, and in his books and in his instructions, we can become purified that way if we follow sincerely.
Well, as Thakur Bhaktivinoda said, he reasons ill who say Vaishnavas die when thou art living still and sound.
Try.
And that was before, I mean, it's easiest enough for us to say, oh yeah, I can just switch on a recording of Prabhupada. But at the time of Thakur Bhaktivinoda, there was not even the imagination of a recording of
Right.
somebody's voice.
Right. Right.
So whatever he meant, which is a little too woo-woo for me to wrap my head around, at the same time, nowadays, it is simple enough so any 5-year-old can play Prabhupada's original sound vibration. So we have no difficulty in associating with the pure devotee. Our
Try.
difficulty is feeling that we can and that he's still alive.
Try.
I mean, is Prabhupada, Prabhupada preached to us, you are not this body, you're a spirit soul.
Hmm.
And so we say to Prabhupada, oh, you died and you're no longer your body, therefore you don't exist. How can we say that?
Yeah. Right.
Shall I read the next line?
1 second,
Oh.
Rupa Manjari. Vinayak Prabhu is also here, so I'd like to hear something from Vinayak Prabhu.
Vinayak, you were just talking about you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So please say something about number 6.
Uh,
I mean, you've been in the Gaudiya Math and this Math and that Math. What have you realized with your experience and realization?
yeah, so far I completely agree to this because a Kanishta Guru can only just waste our some of the lifetimes until we get actual Uttamadhikari Guru, if only if we are sincere. So maybe like after chanting for some lifetimes, we may get realization or maybe mercy from Krishna that we get a Uttamadhikari Guru after some births.
Oh, you mean
So-
talking about a physical Uttama Adhikari Guru?
Like getting an understanding of accepting an Uttamadhikari Guru.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're talking.
but isn't Prabhupada an Uttamadhikari Guru?
Yes, he is, but everyone does not have an understanding that they actually require a Uttamadhikari Guru,
Why?
even after they read Prabhupada's books.
Well, what do they need a physical guru for? To own? This is my
No.
guru, like this is my monkey, this is my dog.
Yes, pretty much that thing, because I have
No, we
seen,
can disregard such materialistic
expe-
creatures.
I have experienced this thing also that Guru Maharaj, I worship you with my heart and soul. I like you to be in the picture frame on my altar, but not speaking me instructions that I cannot follow. That's what problems with Kanishta Adhikari Gurus.
It means you want to own the guru, but you don't want the
Yeah.
guru to own you.
Yes.
If you want to be owned by the guru, why don't you go to the picture, pray, and listen to what the picture tells you? Because are we saying that Prabhupada is dead?
They are doing exactly the same thing. I'm not talking about Prabhupada.
Has
I'm not
Prabhupada
talking about
ceased to be-
Prabhupada.
Okay, well, whatever guru. But has Prabhupada ceased to exist?
Yeah, no.
No. So if he hasn't ceased to exist, why are we acting as though he has ceased to exist? Not only does he cease to exist,
Because
but now we have to take somebody who's appointing some guy without qualification to be guru just so that he will not.
that's
think of
also the
Prabhupada as
energy of
existing.
Krishna, Prabhu. Like it's because of the influence of Maya, people are made to think like that. So they are, because this kind of understanding, this kind of realization that actually you can take instructions from Prabhupada is very rare in Krishna conscious societies.
Well,
So it's
but the
by
thing
very
is that our
rare.
job, it
Yeah,
was before Prabhupada came here. It was, but it shouldn't be in the future. It should be clearly known that Krishna is God, and he will be God in 10,000 years. Prabhupada is his pure devotee. He is eternally his pure devotee. He will also be Krishna's pure devotee in 10,000 years. ISKCON was created by Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. Well, there's no reason for ISKCON to not exist without the GVC in 10,000 years. And you're eternal. Why think about you're going to die and then what? Nothing? Void? Emptiness? Dead body eating by worms? Or do we consider you are also eternal and you will also be alive in 10,000 years? Why do we suddenly say that the spiritual master is dead?
Yeah.
we don't
And then
have to say
accept some
that.
guy that can't help but fall down because he's just a neophyte himself.
Yeah.
What if we project ourselves throughout time? Now, here's an interesting little thing that occurred to me today, is that if I consider, will I be here in 10,000 years? And I'll say, oh no, I don't want to be here in 10,000 years. I want to go back to Godhead before then. But supposing I consider that I will be here for 10,000 years, from the Krishna conscious, from the Krishna Loka point of view, will I exist in 10,000 years?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Or if a jiva is eternal, why won't I exist in 10,000 years? So
You will exist, Prabhu.
how much time, from Krishna Loka point of view, how long is 10,000 Earth years?
Very
It's nothing.
insignificant.
It's
Not at all.
nothing because it's timeless.
Vinayak
Krishna
Prabhu,
Loka is
how long is
timeless.
10,000 years? How long is 10,000 Earth years in Krishna Loka?
It's nothing. We cannot compare because Krishna Loka is timeless.
Exactly. Timeless means there is no measure of time. In the
Yes.
Gita, Krishna says, time I am the destroyer of all things.
Yes.
But nothing is destroyed in Krishna Loka. So from the
Yes.
Krishna Loka point of view, 10,000 years is less than it takes time to snap your fingers. If we make a big deal out of it, it's because we're attached to our present body. Oh, I'm going to live another 20, 30 years, maybe. I hope. Then I'll live another body, maybe 100 years. And that's another 100 years. How long is that? That's 300 years out of 10,000. Oh, no. You know, what happens if I have to live 100 years every time for 10,000 years? No, I can't do that. But we don't realize that if we become pure devotees, it will not seem like 10,000 years. It'll seem like, what?
Should I read the next one?
Are we ready to read the next one?
Yeah, I think we're ready.
I just want to know if Vinayak is going to respond to what I just said.
I completely agree with you, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yeah, so time is not a factor. It's only a factor when
Yes.
you're measuring the breaths you take, or the things you digest, or the aging of your skin, or the death of your physical body. That you can measure in earthly time. But if you are a fruit fly, you will not be measuring in 80 years.
Right.
You will not be measuring more than 2 or 3 days at most.
Right.
So this is how foolish we are, that we identify with our body, then we try to recreate the universe based on the limits of our bodily understanding, based on the time that our present body lives.
Right.
Okay.
Excellent.
So, Rupa, are you ready for action?
Yes, she is ready.
Number 7, ISKCON initiations will be performed exactly as they were performed in the early 1970s. Srila Prabhupada did not chant on 5,000 sets of beads, nor did he perform 5,000 Agnihotra initiation ceremonies. Any Brahmin qualified to perform an Agnihotra ceremony for Shraddha, marriages, Anaprasana, will be able, as they did in the early 1970s, to perform the initiation ceremony as well as Brahmin initiation ceremony. Srila Prabhupada named such initiated Brahmins as officiating acharyas of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. They were authorized to perform the Agnihotra ceremony for all ceremonies, not just initiations, in behalf of Srila Prabhupada in his physical absence. The persons initiated by the officiating acharyas would be initiated by ISKCON, which Srila Prabhupada has declared, ISKCON is my body. Considering that the Hare Krishna mantra is the Shaktavesh avatar, there is no need for a Diksha Guru to award the mantra to an aspiring devotee. Hearing the Maha Mantra is Diksha. To be accepted as a disciple of the last Sampradaya Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, one must take Diksha from one of the officiating Acharyas, who then perform the Agnihotra ceremony, which makes you a disciple of ISKCON, which Srila Prabhupada declared to be his body and therefore non-different than his Swarup.
So one question raised here. Swarup, what do you mean by Swarup and the Swarup of the Uttama Adhikari? There's two, like.
Can you scroll up slightly, because on my screen it's cut off.
Oh, okay. Scroll up. Okay. I'm talking about here. You're saying, I'm reading this part here, which Srila Prabhupada declared to be his body and therefore non-different than his Swarup.
Oh, his Swarup, of course, is Prabhupada's physical form. as we saw it and photographed it when he was here. His Swarup, in terms of spiritual life, looked a great deal different than the body of a kindly old Indian gentleman.
Okay, I see. Yes. So you're making a distinction here. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So his real Swarup is his rasa with Krishna.
Yes, that's what I was referring to, because here you designate Swarup to his body. So that's why I want clarification here. Yeah. You said which Srila Prabhupada declared to be, which ISKCON, which Srila Prabhupada declared to be his body, and therefore non-different than his Swarup. So that's what I wanted to
So
clarify.
no matter how you slice it, if you're looking at ISKCON on earth, it works as Swarup. And if you look at ISKCON as existing in Krishna Loka as a creation of Lord Krishna and Srila Prabhupada in harmony of purpose with each other, then also Swarup applies. The main thing is to understand that we are shortchanging ourselves by thinking that Prabhupada is not as fully present as he always was. And if Prabhupada was fully present, stop to think of it. With all the temples that we had and with 5,000 initiates, how many people got to see Prabhupada? The Vancouver temple told me with great lamentation that Prabhupada kept promising to come to visit Vancouver and never did. There were devotees in Vancouver that never saw Srila Prabhupada even once. But that didn't stop them from chanting, dancing, going on Sankirtan, cooking prasadam, worshiping the deity. No, they considered Prabhupada was there, but they would like to have seen him walk in the door, for sure.
Okay. Okay, that's
Prabhupada
clear.
walking through the door is not the proof of his existence. It's just a benediction of a very special type.
Okay, yeah, Prabhupada walking in the door is not proof of his existence, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you mean his manifest body, right?
Well, his manifest body, I have a hard time saying manifest body because, as you know, I saw him in near Columbus, Ohio. In the
Oh yes, that 3D world, the 4D or 5D world.
Yeah, and I saw him sitting in a lotus flower with a face that was very transparent, young looking, with big eyes, almost like a ET. And he was speaking, and his arm would go out over the group of people. The lotus petals would lie down to let his arm go through. And then when he was finished speaking, the lotus petals would come out. And anytime there was anything like a negative energy of any type from a disciple or just a circumstance, the lotus flower would jump right up and protect him. So that's a lot different than
the Swarup. That Swarup is totally different.
Yeah, what?
I said that Swarup is totally different.
Yes, well, or is it?
Yeah, or is it? Yeah, that's, if you...
We think it's different, but it's actually the same. What people were doing was relating to that transcendental, translucent being inside Prabhupada's body while using their gross, greedy little snickery eyes to look at Prabhupada and saying, my guru, he's mine.
Yeah,
I think be his. Then if I'm his, then he'll be mine. Without any consideration as to what the relationship is. Like the GDC wanted to be owned by Prabhupada and wanted to own Prabhupada.
Oh, yes.
But they didn't want to obey Prabhupada.
Right, yeah, that's it. Yeah. They wanted to own Prabhupada, but they didn't want to obey. So this...
Yeah. So then if they saw nothing wrong with it. Because mostly they were Catholics anyhow, and that's the way you would treat a priest in the church.
Okay, Vinayak Prabhu. Yes.
Go ahead.
Vinayak Prabhu, anything you'd like to say, Rupa Manjari, or we'll continue?
Yeah, but let's hear from Rupa, from Vinayak and from Rupa Manjari.
Okay.
We want
What would
people
you
to
like-
think.
Yeah.
We want
What's your
people to think,
observation? We want your realization of
Yeah.
what that last shloka.
One realization I have. So
Yes.
like
Yeah.
regarding the thing, just like the Prabhu just said about the GBCs who want to own Prabhupada not being owned by Prabhupada. So I think the same thing, the same karma is hitting back now. Their disciples are doing the same. They won't pick up their calls. They will just like they are. For example, there is many Maharaj, many gurus. Their disciples are doing the same what they did to Prabhupada.
Yeah.
They are
So,
like
but
ignoring
are they?
their.
Do we need them, or can we just go straight to Prabhupada?
They're not needed. No way they're needed because
Well, that's
They're
even
not
naive. What does he
needed.
think?
But
But
yeah,
it's an
people
thing.
are.
Can we say, sorry, we don't need you. We're going straight to Prabhupada.
no,
Oh,
Vinayak
you
Prabhu
can't. He's not the current Acharya. Oh, yeah?
is
You think that he reasons ill who say Vaishnavas die, and you're reasoning ill because you say Vaishnavas die?
no. Vinayak Prabhu is saying that just like Prabhupada's disciples who are in management right now, they have disregarded Srila Prabhupada's instructions, and like the direction of management and temples being independent and Prabhupada being the guru. Their disciples are also doing the same treatment to them.
Well, they think
Yes,
because they
that's
have faith.
much more
the GBC
condescending than what they did to their. to
They think
Prabhupada.
that the GBC is authorized to do what they're doing. Therefore, they're trying to be good gurus under the appointment of the GBC, not realizing the GBC has no such authority to appoint. I mean, when you use the Catholic term, which the GBC uses, the ultimate ecclesiastic authority, that means there's nobody over the GBC in terms of godly authority.
Yeah, so far I have observed
Yeah.
is like.
But what they do not mention is that in 1970, they did not accept Prabhupada's being the supreme ecclesiastic authority. They completely went against him. So if the GBC is supreme ecclesiastic authority, well, why can't we go against them? They said, you can't go against me, I'm the supreme ecclesiastic authority. I said, really? Okay. But did you consider Prabhupada a supreme ecclesiastic authority? Did you obey his written instructions when you became GBC? And when you turned the temples into a chain of corporate outposts instead of independent centers, each one radiating their own rays of Krishna consciousness? I said, did you consider him the ultimate ecclesiastic authority? And if you did not, why should I consider you? If you are a disciple, if you're a disciple of Prabhupada, you're telling me to obey you, on what authority do you have? You are disobedient, and I should obey the disobedient. Is that right? Is that what you say?
Do as I
Anyhow.
say, not as I do.
But that doesn't work in the Sampradaya.
Precisely. Okay, let's continue.
Sampradaya is based on go by the example of the authority, not the words.
Okay, let's continue, Rupak. Let's finish it up and then we'll go to the next read.
Keeping the above standard in place, there will be no difficulty whatsoever in preserving ISKCON in its original form for the next 500, 5,000, or up to 10,000 years of the golden age of Kali. Think about it. This is common sense. No other formula will work. Once the criminal GBC has been banned from all ISKCON temples, ISKCON will once again have Srila Prabhupada at the center. And regardless of whatever remaining dogs may bark, the caravan of elephants will pass. Om Tat Sat.
Jai. All right, so
Jai, Hari Bol, Jai. All good.
Jai Shri Krishna, Haribol.
Hari Bol, Jai, Dharma Pranam Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Good to see your Swarup.
We observe a ring on your ring finger, Prabhu.
Sorry. That's like
yeah, a lot of things are no longer common sense. When Srila Prabhupada was present, everything was very precisely done and everything made sense. But now transgender gurus are coming up, all kinds of nonsense things.
Why do we have to go into all this woo-woo? You need a special guru. You have to take
Yeah.
initiation.
Right.
I mean, why?
Why?
Why not just say common sense? Is Prabhupada dead?
No.
No, not
You
at
say
all.
no, but
Prabhu.
what do they say? I'm talking to the guy that wants to take initiation. You need a living guru. Why? Do you think Prabhupada is dead?
Actually, Prabhu, they are making a business on the name of Prabhupada, right? Without Prabhupada, ISKCON can't work, right? Because
Right.
he went throughout the world 16 times, right? So they're using his name, but they're not obeying him, like what Vinayak Prabhu told.
Yes.
That's exactly the point.
I honor your
point.
inspired realization.
All glory to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhu. All
Yeah.
Krishna's mercy and sorry, something was there in between. Yeah, Ron Prabhu, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Our devotees are making some comments on our online discussion. Hold on, let me go there.
Let them roll.
So here, Jiva Day is one of our devotees who watch online. These discussions make capital so much sense that it's surprising how few devotees understand it and care to tune into these types of videos. Listening as I wash our dishes, getting back to it. Hare Krishna. Obeisances to all the devotees. So this we got Aristo and Jiva Day. Jiva Day Prabhu is making a very significant comment. These discussions make so much sense, and it's surprising how few devotees understand it and care to tune in to these types of videos. And he's saying,
just got started.
and he's saying, listening as I wash our dishes, getting back to it, smiley face. So excellent.
Aristo?
No, that was not Aristo. That is another devotee called Jiva Day.
Jiva, yes.
And
Well,
Aristo,
that I have a story
nobody's
to
looked
share.
forward. Everybody's looking now and backwards. And the more we look backwards, the more we say, how unfortunate I am to be living in a time when Prabhupada is not personally present. Because I have to do this, that, and the other thing. I just have to suffer in order to become a disciple. To get the benefit of Prabhupada, I have to go through this whole garbage heap of GBC stuff. Supposing we say, no, you don't. Take the garbage out of the way. Go to Prabhupada. He's there in his murti. And without the GBC and other gurus floating around, Prabhupada will become more and more self-effulgent on his Vyasa-san. In other words, he will become like Buddha. He'll become self-illuminated on his Vyasa-san. And if you go to him, do you think he will not give you pure Krishna consciousness?
He's already giving.
If you go to the deity in the temple and you look, he will look at you. And it happens to be continuously, right? But when you go to the temple, you look at the deity, you see a lump of marble or brass, or do you see someone looking at you?
Someone looking at us. That's Krishna himself there.
Yeah, Krishna's there and he's looking at you. And that's crude because the marble deity is not threefold bending form of, well, it is, but I mean, the marble deity is not like being in Krishna Loka. It's formal, but even so, through that formal deity, he expresses himself to you. You can express yourself to him. You can ask him so many questions.
Okay, so we'd like to thank the devotees for watching. If they have any questions, they can join our WhatsApp group. It's right here. The link is in the description here. You see here? If you'd like to participate live, join here. Just click on the link, and then you'll be in our group. So before we sign off and then sign back in, we're going to start another reading. So any closing comments from the devotees here? Vinayak Prabhu, you wanted to say something, I think.
For me, like there is one thing that that's very significant. Like in earlier days, like this used to be like a very common crime in India, and this was covered in various newspapers and various stories. In which what used to happen, like in earlier times, people like parents used to arrange marriages for their children. So in some families, when there are 3 or 4 boys, brothers, and one of the brothers is very qualified, so they usually put the profile of that brother that our this son is a very successful government officer. He is very smart, good looking, and the bride's family used to select that boy for their daughter to marry, because of course he was having a good job, he was good looking, he was of a proper age and without any bodily defects. But usually in those times it was the system that brides used to get to see the groom only after marriage. So after marriage, when bride went to her in-laws home, then she then she would know that actually her in-laws have cheated her. They showed her the profile of a successful brother, but her actual husband is a kind of bad-looking guy and who does not have a proper job, and she has to spend her whole life with that fake husband, and she's pretty much cheated. So
Sounds like the change-up they used to do when they used to distribute books.
yeah, so the same thing, like people come to Krishna consciousness after reading Prabhupada's books, after seeing
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, after seeing a very good example of an acharya or worshipable personality, and as soon as they are going to take initiation, they just replace with a ugly looking boy who does not have a proper job.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Prabhu, that people come to Krishna consciousness by hearing the pure message of the acharya, descending from the spiritual world. They immediately get attracted to it, and they come to an ISKCON temple and they see someone like XYZ Swami,
They switch the husband.
They switch the husband, right?
They have to be married for lifetimes. So what happened? Let's just imagine for a moment that there is no such Swami, that the person comes to the temple and they see everything. They have heard already books, they've read books, they've listened to tapes, they've listened to lectures. They come into the temple, they see the deities, everything is beautifully done. There's nice prasadam, incense is burning, and they see Prabhupada. Now, if they come in there expecting Prabhupada to be a transcendental being in the Murti form, why would he be less of a Murti form than the deity on the altar? We go to the temple to see God in the form of the deity. So what if we come in to see Prabhupada in the form of the spiritual master? Swarup, his actual transcendental effulgent form sitting there. Are we going to say that Krishna and Prabhupada are incapable of inhabiting the Murti of Srila Prabhupada beyond just being a symbolic relic of how that's what Prabhupada looked at in the days when he was alive? Or should we say, this is Prabhupada, let me offer my obeisances, let me worship? And would he not reciprocate if there were no gurus around or GBC around? If you just come into the temple, you take off your shoes, you walk into the temple, you see the deities, you get some prasadam, you offer your obeisances to Prabhupada, you get up and you look, you said, oh my God, that's him. That's him right there. Why should I think it's fiberglass or marble or something? Brass. That's him. And amazing, because of Lochan, he looks like him.
Okay, Prabhus, Haribol. So we're going to end it here and we're going to go to the next session of readings. So please join the WhatsApp.
By the way, I
group.
want to very much appreciate Vinayak's words.
Oh yeah, that needs to
Brilliant.
be excellent, the way he put it, how people get cheated. So we don't want anyone to get cheated. So
When my 11-year-old daughter gets to be marriageable age, I will be sure that she doesn't get the wrong picture.
Rupa Manjari will make sure.
Yes.
Hari bol.
All right.
Jai, Vinayak Prabhu
Hari Bol,
ki jai.
Prabhu. So we'll start another session with another reading. So please go to the next video. In a few minutes, we'll get going. Hari Bol.
It will be a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.